It's time for Trash Day Nose Yoga with Hefty. Let's transform stinky scenarios with a joyful scent of Fabuloso. Inhale. You forgot to empty your kid's lunchbox. Exhale. A field of lavender. Inhale. Stinky leftovers. Exhale. Watermelon in the summer. That's the power of Hefty Ultra Strong Trash Bags with Fabuloso.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
You know what I could really go for right now? Literally anything that comes in a McDonald's carton, wrapper, or bag. Or a McDonald's cup. Yes, any of those items should do it.
We've got your cravings covered. Now stop in for the flaky Filet-O-Fish, the crispy snack wrap, or large fries for just $2.99. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
He's an old head.
Youngins are really starting to get on my damn nerves.
He's a purveyor of nonsense. He's a Georgia high school coaching job influencer. His favorite Bible verse is Jesus wept. He's the man of constant sorrow, Chris Lamb.
Yeah.
Welcome to Son Coaches Podcast, and today we got a coach that's originally from Georgia, and he won a state championship down in Florida, and just finished being part of a staff that won a state championship, one of the highest classifications in Georgia at Coffee High School. He's the assistant coach now, but he was the head coach at Bluntstown when they won a state championship down in Florida. Coach Beau Johnson, thanks for being on with us.
Appreciate it, Coach. Appreciate it. Man, we were runner-ups down there, but we did have a lot of success there. But we were runner-ups down in Florida. But I'm glad to be on with you and appreciate it, Coach, very much.
Oh, I apologize for that. I thought y'all actually won the thing.
No, sir. We were Cinderella several times, but we had some great runs down there and actually won some SSAC conference championships, which was really cool. But we kept coming up a little short in the title game, but we had some great runs, and it was a good time.
Well, we talked off air before we got started that you grew up down in Camilla, Georgia. So I know where you grew up, and you went to Valdosta State High School. But tell us a little bit about growing up and high school and playing ball and things like that.
Well, I grew up I actually am from Newton, Georgia, but we always went to school in Camilla. So I grew up in Baker County and then went to school over there in Camilla. I went to Westwood, but me and you were talking, and when I was coming up, we played city league ball with all the kids coming up, the Jake Rackleys, the Al Pinkins of the world, the Mitchell Baker kids. We all come through about the same time, and there were some really good athletes in that Mitchell County area while we were in school. And Westwood, we had a lot of success. Our head coach, Graham Lowe, in 14 years, he played for 10 state championships there at Westwood in the GISA, and we had a good run. And then I went to Valdosta State to college, had a blast. I'm so glad that social media didn't exist during that time. And then me and you were talking, we were bouncing names. There's just been a ton of GHSA coaches that were at Valdosta State during that time when I was in school. Coach, I was in school for 6 years to get a 4-year degree. I took my time and really enjoyed it. But I was there from 93 to 99 and graduated in 99, spring of 99, actually the summer of 99, and had a blast at Valdosta State. Just loved it. And Coach Lowe, my high school head coach, is probably the reason I got into coaching. He was just, like I said, we won a bunch, but he also was just a great man and just led us by example of what a father should be like and made us act right. He was our principal, and back then he could whip our fanny. And he whipped mine several times, well deserved each time, and kept us in line. But he also loved us, and it was just a great experience. And so I think that's why I wanted to be a football coach.
Well, that's awesome. So when you got out of Valdosta State, what was your first job coming out?
So, Coach, I could write a book on the worst retirement plan in the history of coaching. Since I played that kind of ball, I actually helped my last year of college at Tift area and just got some experience. And so all my connections was in the private school league. And I took my first job at Briarwood Academy. The current head coach at Briarwood, Beau Fleming, actually played quarterback for us when I was there, and I was assistant. The head coach wanted to do O-line, so I was the D-line and wide receiver coach. Great combination there. Coach, I actually made $19,900. I remember getting my first check and wanting to know who FICA was. And I think I brought home $1,270 or something. I was a Kappa Sig in college, and so I used the alumni directory and begged for people in the Thompson area for somewhere to live. And I lived in like these old folks' basement for like $250 a month or something back then. But anyway, I went to Briarwood and taught histories. I did middle school football. We actually coached. Me and John Osborne coached third, fourth, and fifth grade football during their PE. And on Saturday mornings, we had to go up there, and after we did laundry and stuff, we'd go out there and coach the third, fourth, and fifth graders in Saturday morning football. But
that's awesome. I'm from Augusta, so I know I'm familiar with Thompson and Briarwood.
Oh yes. So I got into the private league, and I was in the private league for 12 years. Had some great experiences.
Where'd you go after Briarwood? How long did you stay there?
I stayed 1 year, Coach, because I thought getting a raise was just super important. So I went to Thomas Jefferson for $22,500. And we played for state that year at Briarwood. One of the things I picked up right away was the veer, which would help my career very much down the line. And then the second coach I worked under, Coach Wimberly, was a big wishbone guy. And I'm talking about old school Georgia Tech wishbone guy, and some Pepper Rogers type stuff, and then stuff that his coach ran and all. And I think Freddie Layton had some influence. Freddie Layton was an older coach in our state, and we actually won state when I went to Thomas Jefferson with Coach Wimberly. And so the wishbone and the veer is something that's been with me the whole coaching career after that. It was something I fell in love with and had a blast. And I moved around a lot young. I was chasing that dollar. I was single forever and did what I wanted to do. I'd end up being the defense coordinator at Edmund Burke Academy.
EBA in Waynesboro, Georgia.
Yes, sir. Bird dog
capital of the world. Yes, sir.
And Brent Cribb was the principal. Me and him, his mother was the secretary at Westwood for like 30 years. They have like a Miss Cribb Day, and she like helped raise us and keep us out of trouble. And he was the actual principal or headmaster, whatever they call those in the privates now. And so Brent was the headmaster, and I was DC and taught history and helped coach all kind of stuff. And Tate Parker was the head coach, and he went into the insurance business. So I ended up being the head coach at Edmund Burke, and we had a good run. One of those years I was the head coach there. And,
what year was that?
2006. We ended up in the Final Four against Valwood, and we made it down to about the 4-yard line and couldn't punch it in. And Valwood ended up losing next week to Trinity. But, it was at Edmund Burke. We ran the wishbone and midline and double dive and got into that veer option stuff and ran the wishbone, counter tray, all that stuff. But we kept getting beat by Trinity Christian and a guy named Steve Price. And Steve's a phenomenal football coach. And his kids, my kids worked hard in the weight room, and we prided ourselves working hard in the weight room, but my kids just didn't look like his kids. And I asked Coach Price, I was like, hey, man, we were at a clinic. Probably a Glazier or something. And I was like, Coach, I work hard, but why don't my kids look like your kids? And he was like, Coach, you need to go get BFS certified, Bigger, Fast, Stronger certified. So the reason I tell you this story is I went and got Bigger, Fast, Stronger certified. And not only did it help me start winning games, but Steve was a clinician at the time. And he got me meeting some of those bigwigs at Bigger, Faster, Stronger. One of them named Roger Freeborn that was known for the Bean 11 program stuff. And I ended up actually being a Bigger, Faster, Stronger clinician And that really helped my career too. So I had one more head coaching stint in the GISA at Piedmont Academy. And we won some games, but me and that principal did not get along very well. And after 2 years, we mutually parted ways before we physically probably wanted to fight each other. But we had won some games there, and David Bell's a really good friend of mine, was the head coach at Southwest Georgia and Damascus, and old Max Evans was helping him. And they didn't have to have me coach, but I grew up down there in that area, and I went back home, lived in Baker County, and helped David. We helped design a weight room. I was still working for BFS, and he allowed me to go do clinics and stuff. And, had a big time. We designed a weight room there for David, and helped him and Max coach football. We had a blast. I was single. David was single. And I lived on the town square there in Colquitt, Georgia, up above a pizza and beer and wing joint named Daryl's.
I know exactly where it's at.
And me and David, boy, we'd go down there and eat us some wings about 3 nights a week. And I tell you a great story. So if you know Colquitt's town square, you know, they got little restaurants there on town square. I told you about Daryl's. And me and David spent a ton of time with each other because we were both single. There was a Chinese joint in the square there. And so, you know, I'd just walk over there about 3 nights a week. It was a little Chinese buffet. And so anyway, one night we get off work, and it's me and David and a young coach back then. He was young, David Byrne. It's about closing time. It's about 8:45 or something like that. And we cruise up into that Chinese joint, and they're taking up the buffet, you know, and we won't want to be rude, and we're like, hey, that's fine. We're sorry. You know, we know y'all trying to close. Dude, that lady starts screaming, no, number one customer. Sit down. So she sits us down, and they start whipping stuff up. She whips that door open, starts talking back there, and they come out with some fresh beef with broccoli and General Tso's chicken and all this stuff. And Bale's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, how do you know these people? I was like, Coach, I just eat here a couple nights a week. I don't know. But he still won't let me live that down. Every time I see Bill, number one customer.
Did y'all ever eat at the power line?
Oh, yeah, Coach. Outstanding, dude. Outstanding groceries at the power line.
Yeah, we'd ride. When I was at Early County, we'd go over there. That was in our rotation because, you know, there aren't many places. So you go to the log cabin, you'd go to there, and then you'd go to that place in Donaldsonville, the front porch, the pond.
Moby's, you know, Moby's.
Go to Moby's, yeah.
So I had a blast there in Damascus. The Nats, the funnest thing was when a team from Atlanta would drive into Damascus, and they would get off the bus, and for an hour they would swat the Nats. And then we had this guy that helped set up the sidelines named Booger, and Booger would get the golf cart, and there was this old cotton field right behind our visiting bleachers.
Yep.
And boy, he'd drive them Yankees out there and let them pick some cotton and take pictures out there in the cotton and stuff. We had us a blast, and we went to the state semifinals both of those years, and I'm still very close with Max and David. I mean, you know, you get our age and get families, you don't get to see each other as much, but I got to see David in Douglas this winter, and I really love those guys. But by doing BFS clinics, going back to Steve Price had made it down to Taylor County. And while I was with David in Damascus, I went and did 2 bigger, faster, stronger clinics down in Perry, Florida. But now I knew nothing about Perry, Florida. All I did was drive to the school, do the BFS clinic, and then drive back to Georgia. Well, Steve ends up being the head football coach there, and it's in July. And Coach Bell knew all about it, and Steve called me, and he's like, look, I want you to come be my defense coordinator here in Florida and get into public school. It's about time you get into public school and get some insurance and retirement and all that. And so where he got me, Coach, I still owe Coach Price. He's a great Christian man, and he don't lie, but he said, Coach, We are 18 miles from the Gulf. And you tell any South Georgia boy, man growing up, that you're 18 miles from the Gulf, and what do we think, Coach? We think sand, bikinis,
PCB.
Yeah, right.
Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. You know what's slower than a pace car? Waiting at the car wash. That's when I fire up Chumba Casino. It turns those slow minutes into fast fun. With new games every week, you'll never get bored. Next time you're stuck in the slow lane, speed up with Chumba. Play now at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Or Mexico Beach or something.
Mexico Beach, yes, sir. Toucans.
So, Coach, I talked to Dave, and he's like, man, you probably need to get in public school and do that. So I go to Tallahassee. I passed the test. The principal never even interviews me. They hire me sight unseen, and I go to Perry, Florida to start my first public school job ever. So I spent about 12 or 13 years in the GISA, going back to the worst retirement plan in the history of America. So then I get into public school, but Coach, I did not know this at the time, but it's the worst coach paying state in the United States, I think, which is Florida. But I go down there to Perry, Coach, and we do 2-a-days, and we get done, and I throw me a cooler and an umbrella and a chair in the back of the truck, and I take off 18 miles to the Gulf. And I look for 4 hours and ain't found sand yet. Now, I will tell you, I ended up having a great time, and it's some of the best fishing in the world. Steinhatchee, Keaton Beach. We ended up, I met a great friend there, Aaron Portwood. We'd go to FSU games together. I still hadn't been married, nothing yet. I'm single, having a blast. And he'd take me out on the boat. We'd have a good time there, fishing in the flats and had a big time. And my getaway when I had any time off, I coached 4 sports at Taylor County because, again, back then I was single. So I was defense coordinator. I coached girls weightlifting team, which is a sport in Florida, boys weightlifting team, and the head track coach. And working at Taylor County, if anybody ever tells you, it ought to be worth 5 years on the retirement scale per year. It is something else now. That is something else there in Perry, Florida. So anytime I could get loose, I'd go over there to Mexico Beach. I love the El Governor. Man, I'd go over there and stay at the El Gov, man, and eat oysters and go to Toucans. That was another story. Me and David Beau were hanging out in there one night, and he was telling everybody I was Bam Bam Bigelow. If you don't know me, I'm a big old fella. And back then I had old clean shaven bald head. He had a girl going one night talking about, this is Bam Bam Bigelow off of wrestling, and she was buying into it. I'm like, nah, I don't know what's going on.
At
so
Toucans.
I'd never heard of Bluntstown, Florida, ever. But what I did know is that I took a left in Bluntstown to go to Mexico Beach, right? And so they had a defense coordinator job pop up. And so I'm like, look, if I can get this job, I'm going to be to DC at Bluntstown. I'm living Weewah-Hitchcock and just hang out at Mexico Beach. And so I go over there and interview with Coach Jordan, and I didn't know that they had, it's a phenomenal football history and football program, and just God, do they love football in Bluntstown. And I go over there and I get the DC job, and some of them old farmers in Damascus had bought a house down in Mexico Beach, and the market crashed on them. And they had a house in Mexico Beach sitting empty for like 7 years. And I was on Facebook trying to find somewhere in Weewah-Hitchcock to live. To kind of cut the distance in half. And one of them old boys sent me a message and was like, hey, man, won't you live in Mexico Beach? And I was like, you know what a school teacher makes. I can't live in Mexico Beach. He was like, oh, yeah, you can, buddy. He was like, I just want you to pay the taxes. We'll let you live down there for $550 a month, and you just kind of fix the place up and put you some window units in there and buy you a little refrigerator. So I lived in Mexico Beach and coached at Bluntstown, and I'd sleep in the field house if I had to a couple nights. And we went on a run there. We played for state in 2013. We had 8 shutouts. Didn't have nothing to do with me now. They were loaded, had great athletes. And the next year we had a good little playoff run. Port St. Joe beat us 6-0, and they went on to win the state championship. I was the head softball coach at Bluntstown. And, I had a great time. I started kind of got on a health kick down there. I'd go running on the beach, and I lost a bunch of weight. I actually met my wife while I was living in Mexico Beach. She grew up in Camilla, Georgia, out in Cotton. She was a Collins. And we had went to school. She was 10 years younger than me, though. I made fun of her. I dressed like Santa Claus my senior year. I said, you was probably sitting on my lap telling me what you wanted for Christmas while you were in kindergarten at Westwood. But, yeah. She didn't think that was too funny. But we met on Facebook, and we started dating while I was living in Mexico Beach. And we would meet one night a week, and she had every other weekend off. She was working at the hospital. And, I was 39 and had moved all over, doing what I wanted to, coaching wise, living where I wanted to, just doing what I wanted to. And I kind of was like, hey, if I'm ever going to get married, I need to get it done. So that's how I met my wife. And she had a little boy named Casey, and that's been great. We had a big time, and I ended up eventually Shane Boggs gave me a job in Brookwood at Thomasville for 2 years while I was engaged, because she was living in Pelham. And it gave me a chance to be close to her and Kaysen. And we got engaged and then got married. And then I went back to Bluntstown in 2017. And Coach Jordan, we went to state in 17 and lost to Madison in the state championship. Had a great year, great season, and then Coach Jordan left, and I ended up being the head coach at Bluntstown from spring of 2018 to when I left. And we had a great run. They won before me, and they've won after me, and they will keep winning. Bluntstown just loves football. Great kids, love the weight room. We won a bunch of weightlifting district titles in a row, and they're going to keep doing that too. Just a great program. And I think we won about 80% of our games. 2019, we went 13-1. We played for state again. Had a running back run for 324 yards in the state championship game, but we lost to Madison again in 2019, which is where Coach Co was, who is the head coach at Coffee now. And then 2021, we were on a run again. I think we finished regular season 8-1, and then made it to the third round and ran into Madison again. That particular year, the FHSA put them in our regional or whatever. So we ran into Madison in the third round my last year in Florida. But I had told my wife I love those kids in Bluntstown. Loved the townspeople. It was awesome. Just a great place. And but we had decided I had to come to Georgia for the insurance and retirement. And, we were already we interviewed at Thomasville. We interviewed at Irwin County. Really liked Coach Soliday and meeting him, and really thought we were going to go to Irwin County, to be honest with you. But Mike got this job over here. Coach Co got this job at Coffee, and he was like, y'all got to at least come look at it. And at first my wife was like, we're not moving to Douglas, Georgia. I've never been to Douglas, Georgia in my life. And, we came and looked at it, and that Saturday morning, I had all intentions of getting up and calling Coach Soliday and telling him we were going to Irwin. And she woke me up about 6 a.m. and said, I think it's best for Kaysen that we're going to go to Douglas, just because they got, it's a bigger school system and got a lot to offer. So that's how we ended up at Coffee. And, from there, we've had a great 2 years here with Coach Co and all these great coaches that were already here and the ones he brought in. And we were very lucky and fortunate enough to stay healthy. And we got a fantastic group of kids and ended up winning state last year. So it's been a heck of a journey. Been around some great kids and had some great opportunities. So it's been fun.
Man, that's awesome. That Mexico Beach at Weewa, living in Weewa, living at Mexico Beach, living the dream. Golly, that's where me and my wife went for our honeymoon 22 years ago. And,
Coach, it was awesome.
Stayed at the El Governor, as a matter of fact. And ate at Toucans. It probably ain't even there no more because of the hurricane that got through there.
Hurricane got it. But yeah, that was something else. You know, I've been very blessed. You know, I think we can take ourselves too serious sometimes, and we're never as smart as we think we are, but we sure ain't as dumb as some of these fans think we are. You know, getting to go, just seeing sunsets down there and just being on that beach, and it was a wonderful time. I think it was something I needed at that point in my life, and it's kind of ironic that I kind of got to do that. And then that was kind of at the time I met my wife, got to start being a family man. 20 years too late, probably, but
God don't make no accidents.
No, he don't. And you know, and man, we won a bunch of games. You know, I've been very fortunate. But like I said, Bluntstown was winning before I got there. They're gonna win after I'm gone. They already have, and they're gonna keep winning with Coach Wagner. And it's just a great program. And but we've been very fortunate to have the opportunity to coach in some big time football games and be at some cool places and meet a bunch of cool people. And a lot of ex-players are coaching. So
I completely dropped the ball on that one. I was researching you, and I just saw a picture of you holding a big old trophy, and I didn't read it. That's why I introduced you. I thought y'all won it. I was like, dang.
Well, we were Cinderella a couple times, but you know, Coach, we were fortunate. We got to be in this cool conference thing down there, and it was fun winning that. You know, and our kids. You know, I had a kid just graduate from the Citadel that went up there and played, and that was fun to see him grow up and go do that. And, you know, we had a heck of a run down there. And, you know, some things I was very proud of. We won the highest GPA for Class A football a couple years in a row. Like I said, the weightlifting stuff, which they continued to win after I chose to come to Georgia, which I knew they would. And it's just a phenomenal place, really neat. Only a couple of red lights, but they sure do love football, and it was a great opportunity.
Well, earlier in season 1, I think it might have been season 2, I had Brock Canada on here, and he was the head coach at Dixie at one point in time, and he talked about it. I'm gonna let you talk about it a little bit, share with our Georgia coaching brethren. If they ever think they're having a bad day, just think about what the guys in Florida have to put up with for the amount of money that you get paid. Talk about the disparity and what the difference, how big of a difference is.
And like I said, Coach, I was very ignorant to the situation because I did those private school years first, like a moron, which I wouldn't trade for the world. But you know, it's not the greatest retirement plan. So when I first went to Florida public school, it was more than what I was making in private. But I quickly started realizing, you know, eventually that this is not Georgia. And so, yeah, like I don't mind telling you it's public record. You can dig it up, but I was a 12-month employee, head football coach, athletic director, head weightlifting coach in Bluntstown, Florida. I mean, we won 80% of our games, played for a state title, and I was making about $58,000. But, you know, it ain't just the money. It's also the insurance. So down there, the insurance is not a statewide plan. So sometimes it's a group of counties. Sometimes it's just your county. But basically my cheapest, what we would in Georgia call the bronze plan, my family insurance was like $800 a month, bronze plan. And then the retirement's only worth 1.5 instead of 2% per year on your retirement. So anyway, there's several things that they need to get kind of fixed down there, and there's a lot of great people working on that. Shelton Cruz with the FACA is a phenomenal guy and has done a great job promoting those Florida guys. There's some great coaches down there. Like you talked about James Thompson has done a phenomenal job with the coalition, and so I'm hoping they're going to get it fixed down there for those guys. They deserve it. There's a lot of great coaches down there, but yeah, we had real small staff. So
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. Victory Lane? Yeah, it's even better with Chumba by my side. Race to ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
I was at a great school and all, but we didn't have the money. Like I didn't have huddle sidelines, so my O-line coach would sit right below the press box, and we'd have a young teenage guy with a rope tied to an iPad, and he would iPad the offensive stuff, and then while the defense was playing, he would lower that rope with the iPad down to my O-line guy who was on the headphones for me. That's just what we had to deal with. It's what the life we led. So, but it was fun. But yeah, I feel bad for those Florida guys just not having the resources and the money and the stuff that we have in Georgia.
Yeah, I've tried to tell some of the guys because, working clinics down there. I spoke at the FACA 2 years ago, and I've worked the Nike Coach of the Year clinic in Orlando the last 2 years, and you listen to these guys tell these stories, and you come back just so thankful, just what the state of Georgia, what we have with our insurance and our state base pay, not even getting into, what the different coaching salaries are depending on the counties you're in. And it's not just Florida. I mean, some of the guys that work on the, clinic circuit with us, they're from North Carolina, and they find out what we get paid in Georgia, and they just look at me like they think I'm making it up. And I'm like, look, baby, and they're younger guys. And I'm like, look, baby, you can come to pick a place and you're going to make more money than you do now. Like North Carolina, they don't even pay them extra for a master's degree.
Well, and especially like my assistants who are great people, coordinators, assistants, whatever you want to call them. And, like my DC, to make a living, he had to be the girls' head basketball coach, which was a supplement of $3,300 to be the head girls' basketball coach. So during the playoffs, he would be at football practice and then leave and go coach girls' basketball, afterwards. And then my O-line guy, who's a phenomenal coach, Emery Horn, did a great job. Charles Buggs was my DC, did a great job. Emery was the head baseball guy. So in the off season, they were coaching basketball, baseball and stuff. And really my whole staff had to do that. And, that makes it tough on them, on us. But we did I had great coaches, they did a great job. And, you just learn to live with the resources that you have and do the best you can with those resources. Those guys did a great job, and had a great time. Like Coach Scott does the girls weightlifting down there now. And Coach Scorser was a baseball coach. And so anyway, the whole staff had to do that and kind of live that way. And you just feel bad for those guys, and especially the insurance and retirement stuff, I think was something they really got to work on.
Well, do you think your early years being in the GISA helped prepare you for not having the same type of resources and helped you adapt and adjust and overcome that more, you think?
It did, but I would say any small school now, because now look, there's some small schools in Georgia that, they got the state pay scale and they got the insurance and retirement. But now there's some small school guys in Georgia have to line the field, plunge the toilet, make homemade peanut butter and jellies and do all that. I mean, they have to do a lot of that too, and I think that's just small school life. I'm very blessed to have been able to come and help Coffee and Coach Co. and then all these coaches that have already been here at Coffee. It's been a great experience for me because small school ball and big school ball, once the ball's teed up and kicked off, there ain't a whole lot of difference. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. The difference is all the moving parts and the resources and the number of coaches and the stuff that you don't have to do and that you are able to do with those resources. And then all the tents on the sideline and the TVs. And I help with the equipment room here and help set up the sideline and do all that stuff. And, I mean, it's just amazing the resources we have here. We got an indoor facility we're fitting to move into. Our weight room looks like a D1 college weight room. And, I think it would do young coaches, no matter what state you live in, a lot of good to go be at a small school at least once while you're young, to just see all the stuff like painting practice fields and being on your belly in 110-degree weather with that screwdriver trying to find the metal peg in the corner of the end zone. And, the people that's done it for 30 years, 25 years, they know. So some of it is a Florida thing, but then some of it I think is just small, rural communities that struggle, and they do the best they can, but you just have to kind of learn to deal with what you got. So yeah, I think the small school experience helped me not be overwhelmed by some of that. Like Bluntstown, and dude, these are awesome people, but it's just the way it was set up. So we're in charge of the concession stand. The head football coach is there. So in the middle of the week, I'm getting with this guy. Terry Blair did a great job for me, helping me with that down there. He was awesome, wonderful. And he helped me get the field ready down there and did all that kind of stuff. Terry did a phenomenal job. But he would help me order this many hamburgers, this many barbecue sandwiches. And we were trying to make sure we made a profit. We'd go to Sam's to get Cokes to make sure we weren't paying 88 cents a can from Buffalo Rock and paying 38 cents a can, because I didn't get gate money from the regular season down there in my budget. The gate money went to the general fund. I got playoff money and kickoff classic money and then the concession stand money. So after a football game, I talked to my kids for a minute. I'd wobble, not run, upstairs, do my radio interview, go straight to the coach's office, and the concession stand people would meet me in there. I'd make sure I counted the money in front of 2 or 3 people, before you started the laundry and all that kind of stuff. So that's just stuff that at a small school in North Florida you had to do. You kind of just get in a routine and learn to do it. But I'm sure I'm appreciative to be at a place to get to see how the big school world works, and the clock for practice and periods and 20-man staff running around, and how we go on the road and take care of everything. It's really phenomenal, the organization that these big schools use and go through to get ready for a Friday night football game. Is really impressive to me here. I've learned a lot with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when I was at Northside Warner Robins, I was part of the goon squad that, we'd go, not sharing the MAC with Warner Robins. Every home game, you'd have to set it up and then tear it back down, so that they could do it when they played there, or, whatever was going on. But we go on the road and you take 6 buses, just for the football team, because you're taking 140 kids, or 120 kids somewhere. I mean, it's just amazing that there are so many moving parts and getting everything going. And, having spent most of my career at smaller schools, it was like, man, this is crazy. And then, we'd go set up and have everything ready. And so that when they got there, everything was ready to go. And then, then you went to work. And then when it was over, your job, part of my job was helping break everything down. And, my job during the day was go get the U-Haul trailer or truck and then take it back at night. That was like my big thing besides setting up. So, I mean, I totally get that. And you're right. If people, when you come from small places and you see the enormity of, 5A, 6A, 7A, and everything that goes into it, it's pretty amazing.
Well, this is a great story. So in Damascus, I know you know where Damascus is. Damascus population is like 98 plus 3 dogs. So it ends up being like 101. And then the gnats on the dog's fanny. But anyway, down in Damascus, we were getting ready for this playoff game, and Coach Beau was irate. He's like, man, we done got this field out here looking good. He goes, there's armadillos or something at night is eating this field up, digging holes and stuff or whatever. So, Coach, we go out there, we wait till nighttime. It's like we're shining deer. We got on a golf cart and was out there shining them and popping them, boom, boom, to get rid of them armadillos or whatever that was tearing the field up. I mean, that just ain't something you got to do over here.
No, no,
it's not. That just ain't something that's got to happen in Douglas, Georgia, in 5 and 6A football. You just ain't got to do that, But in Damascus, hey, we went and got us a golf cart and hung out till it got dark. Went out there and did what we had to do to make sure we were ready to play that Friday night. So, I mean, it's just funny how you go through this coaching career and all these places. And, I wish I hadn't moved around young and moved around and done this and that and started a family earlier. I do. But I also look back on all the memories and all the people I've met and the things I've got to do and the memories you have with stuff like that and just the times you have with people. And we're just very blessed, I think, to do this for a living and be around kids and have the experiences we've had and the messages you get, from people and that you've coached or coached with, or you get to see their kids grow up, or the kids you coached are now coaching and they're messaging you and telling you how much they appreciate it. It's just, I think that part's awesome. But now 5 and 6A, you got problems. So we got this big trailer this year. We're headed to state, right? Coffee Trojans. Oh my God, a town's on fire. Getting to play for the state championship. So we got this big trailer that, we take 2 trailers. One's got the camera equipment and the manager stuff and the water and all that kind of stuff. And we're staying in a motel the night before up there in Atlanta. And so I'm in charge of driving the one that's got like our equipment in it and all this kind of stuff that we pack up the balls and coolers and all this stuff. So anyway, we're loaded up and all week, Coach, when you drive through town, people are going, "Go Trojans," and beeping the horn and just electric, right? So we're having this send off and we drive right through town and everybody's honking the horn. So anyway, we get out on the interstate and Coach Stripling always drives up and I drive home no matter where we're going. And so I'm sitting over there in the passenger seat and Coach Stripling, he's like, "Man, this thing's driving a little weird." And I think it's just windy, Coach. He's like, "Yeah, it might be." And so this guy in a smart car, them little bitty cars,
like clown
he comes
car.
pulling up. He comes pulling up beside us. One I won't even fit in. I mean, I don't even think I'd fit in it, period. Like I'd take up 2 seats in the front of it. But he's like all over the road, Coach, and he's looking over at us and he's peeping the horn. And we kind of look over there at him and we're like, "Yeah, go Trojans," And that dude's about to crash. And when I said, he's like, no, you don't have a tire. You don't have a tire. Well, we didn't know what he was saying. So we're like, "Oh, something must be wrong. Maybe we might have a flat." So we pull over and Coach Booth, our strength guy, who's phenomenal, but he's also funny. We send him back there to check it out. And we're like a mile and a half from Buc-ee's, Coach. And if you don't know, I know you know.
Oh,
Buc-ee's is like the playoff pit stop. You stop going and coming home at Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah, got to go to Buc-ee's.
So we're a mile and a half from Buc-ee's on the interstate. And we send Coach Booth back there to check it out. He gets back in the truck and we're like, "Is it bad, dude? Do we have a flat? Is everything all right?" He's like, "Oh, it's bad." We're like, "Well, how bad is it?" He goes, "It's real bad." We're like, "Well, so it's flat?" And he's like, "No, there's no tire." He said, "Not only is there no tire, there's no bolts to put a new tire on it. They're sheared off."
Oh, no.
So, yeah. So, anyway, Coach, we limp into Buc-ee's. And me and Coach Strip and Booth, we sit there at Buc-ee's for like 3.5 hours. And Douglas, Georgia has to, the school board here helped us out, our transportation guy, Buddy. He drove us a whole new trailer, and we had to unload it and load it in the new trailer, hook up to it. So we got to the motel pretty late that night. But, when you go in Buc-ee's, they say, "Hey, it's a great day to be at Buc-ee's." They told me like 6 times. I watched Pierce and Rockmart in an awesome football game on my phone the whole time. But yeah, so you have problems at small school, which might be armadillos on the field, or one of the kids who's supposed to be helping you paint the field puts a 22-yard line down. I've had that happen. We had to go buy green paint. Or at 5 and 6A ball, you run over a hog or you blow a tire out on the trailer that you got 9 trailers going to the game. So, I mean, I think no matter where you're at, you're going to encounter some stuff. It's just the small school stuff, I think, takes a lot more energy sometimes.
Well, let's change gears and talk about something that I have been assured is one of your favorite.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Favorite topics to talk about, and that's grilling. I hear that you are a grill master.
Well, now Bob Hall would argue that he's the grill master here in the neighborhood. He lives right across the lake from me. If y'all don't know Bob Hall, that dude is a great American, great O-line coach, and he can cook. But I do love to grill. And I've had every kind of grill you can think of, from the Orion smoke cooker thing that looks like a robot to the flat top deal to now I got a pellet grill, and I do love grilling. It's my way to relax, and just enjoy it. And I do take pride in it. I think I cook, but I know there's a lot of grown men think they can cook and coach football, even ones that don't coach football or that can cook. So, but yeah, I feel like I cook pretty good.
Well, what's the best grill? I mean, is the Big Green Egg, is that any good? Or, I mean, I'm not a grill guy.
Dude, you know, I used to make fun of them when I was in Florida. That's how I'd make fun of the Georgia. I said, "That's how you know you coach in Georgia. Y'all rascals got Big Green Eggs, and I'm down here on this Weber getting after it." But you know, that Big Green Eggs is just a lot of work. Now, there's probably some people like, "Oh, Coach, they're the greatest thing in the world," but I tell you, it's hard to beat these pellets they got going on now. Now, there's about 4 different brands. You ain't got to buy a Traeger. I wouldn't have a Traeger except my father insisted on buying me a gift and did it. But there's just all kind of brands. Pit Boss. I think Bob's got a Pit Boss or something like that. But all kind of great pellet grills now, and which there's some people say that'd be cheating. But you know, when you coach for a living, you got to find a work smarter, not harder, as Rob Armstrong would say. Yeah, I love grilling. I just think it's a great way to kind of relax, sit on your porch, think about things, listen to some Widespread Panic or whatever music you get into, and kind of get your mind off of the worries of our profession and kind of recharge and get ready to go for the next deal.
Do you have a favorite thing to grill, or does it matter to you?
I think, you know, long cooks, if you have time, I think long cooks are fun, you know, like a butt or ribs. I'd say ribs are my favorite to try to get, because you got to really you got to put some love into it to get ribs exactly how you want them and the right. And I like experimenting with different rubs and sauces, you know. And then now with YouTube and Twitter and I don't get on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, but man, there's all these channels now. You can see all kind of stuff, you know. So I like experimenting, you know, like with some jalapeno peach barbecue sauce or something, you know, just try something different every time and kind of get your groove like that. But yeah, I'd say ribs. Ribs would be one of my top favorites. Chicken wings.
What's the hardest thing to grill? To get it,
I don't mess with a brisket, and I think briskets are awesome, but I'm not paying $100 for a piece of meat and then screw it up. So brisket is out for Coach Johnson. I'll cook a poor man's brisket, but I ain't messing with or burn ends, you know. But I'm not going and buying one of them hulked up $80 briskets, and then that thing tastes like shoe leather. So Coach Johnson does not cook brisket.
So that'd be the hardest thing to cook or to grill in
my opinion,
professional opinion.
Yes, sir. I think so. There might be some that disagree, but yeah, I'd say a brisket.
Yeah, our grilling consists of, we got a gas little portable. Now, you know, it unfolds and looks like a regular grill on the back porch, but we can fold it up and take it because, you know, there's just 3 of us. So, and we don't have people over and, you know, have to grill for massive amounts. It's got these little side things that unfold, and, you know, for what we need, it does. does the job, but it's not, I got a buddy of mine that lives in Albany, Houston Daniel. He's a big grill guy, and he'd roll over, die if he knew that's I'm grilling on gas and doing stuff like that. I'm not really grilling, but we like jalapeno poppers and stuff like that. We get them from the local meat market here and stuff like that.
That's one thing about South Georgia now. There's some meat markets everywhere. Because when I was at Bluntstown, I'd drive all the way to the other side of Bainbridge to that Jones Meats.
What was that
over
one?
there.
What was that one in between Colquitt and Blakely? Golly, we used to go there all the time. Like if you're going from Blakely to Colquitt.
Is it a Mike's Country Meats?
It might be. It was on the right. Mobley's was on the left going into Colquitt. And it was across from the Mennonite Bakery.
Oh, dude, them Mennonite bakeries. I need to stay out of them too, buddy.
Yeah,
they're phenomenal.
Yeah, they made a good strawberry cake. Well, they made good everything, but.
So Coach Leland Reddy, he's at Georgia Military College as OC. I taught him in high school, and he helped me straight out of high school coach. And he lived with me for a little bit. He was from Waynesboro, and his mom would bring some of them homemade ham and cheese rolls from the Pineland Bakery over there.
Oh yeah, that Mennonite Bakery in Waynesboro. I coached at Burke County for a year, and my parents will drive from Evans to Waynesboro to the Mennonite Bakery just to get whatever.
Dude, she'd bring about 20 over and put them in that bottom drawer in the refrigerator. Boy, them things were like gold. They were unbelievable. Unbelievable.
But yeah, meat markets in South Georgia are something serious. When you can go in there and tell somebody, I want 3 this thick, ribeyes, and watch them pull out a whole piece of a cow and cut them right there and wrap them up in the parchment paper. And I mean, I'm a city kid. I grew up, in the suburbs of Augusta. So to me, that's cool. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And it's like, what? I'm not buying meat in a grocery store ever again. Why would you?
My assistant coaches in Bluntstown, that was our Christmas present every year. I'd go get sausage from the meat market up there, like I said, in Climax. And at Jones Meats, and one of them didn't like hot, one of them did like hot, one of them would like the jalapeno cheddar or whatever. But anyway, that was our Christmas present every year. If I couldn't pay them, I wanted to try to feed them good. So.
Oh yeah, well, and when you coach O-linemen, that's all you got to do is feed them.
I tell you, so Chris Jenkins, we called him Fog for the freaking old guy. his best friend is Buddy Sorrow.
Yes, sir. I know both of them very well.
All right.
So, fish in water. Never touch the stuff.
So listen. So Bluntstown, I'm trying to hire an assistant football coach. And coach, what I told you about our pay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough, coach. It just ain't happening. We've been advertising the job for like 5 months. So Chris Jenkins is retiring from Georgia, and he wants to be near the Gulf. And in Bluntstown, we were near the real Gulf, not the Perry Gulf. And he could go see some sand and eat oysters. So, dude, this guy pulls up, and, I see all his coaching experience in Georgia and all this. I mean, it's a home run for me at Bluntstown, coach. Now, he's older in his career. I get that. But, so, man, I'm showing him around. Boy, I'm doing a good job. I'm talking it up. He got to see us lift weights. I'm talking about how many games, Bluntstown's won and the tradition, and driving him all around. And, boy, he's loving it. And, we get done, and we pull back up to the school, and he said, well, coach, I know you probably got a bunch of people after this job. When can you let me know something? I said, right now. I said, you're hired. He said, really? I said, absolutely, buddy. Just don't back out on me. So anyway, Chris came and worked for me. During that time, I was the head coach. He was my D-line coach. And I knew Buddy because Buddy ended up at Edmund Burke after I did, a couple years after I did, and had won some games. He was one of the ones when we were shooting them armadillos in Damascus. He was bringing Edmund Burke down there in the semifinals. But anyway, so I knew Buddy. But I didn't know that he hung out with Chris, and they were real close. So we're at a Bluntstown home football game, and Buddy Sorrow shows up. And I'm like, Buddy, what are you doing? So anyway, yeah, they're best friends. So we called Chris Fogg, the freaking old guy. And then Buddy Sorrow was Frog, the freaking real old guy. So they were Fogg and Frog.
Oh, man. I got to get Buddy on here. I got to get Buddy on here. Buddy, I've known Buddy my whole coaching career.
Hey, so you'll love this. So we, I think it's 2019. We played for that conference championship against Baker, who was a really good football team. They had played for state in 18. And we beat them. We go 10-0. We win the conference championship. We're celebrating, and it's probably one of them pictures you saw with a trophy. And so we got the trophy, but we played in Panama City at the city municipal stadium, whatever it's called down there. So, it took me a while to do interviews and to get the kids off the field from taking pictures and all. So I wanted a picture with the coaching staff. I mean, we're probably talking 10 minutes after the game, whatever. I can't find Fogg and Frog nowhere. So Fogg misses the picture, and I'm like, man, where's Coach Jenkins? They were like, Coach, Fogg and Frog's already at Tootsie's. They stayed down in Panama City. Them jokers steal. They'll send me a picture. They'll have a little Christmas tree with the beach in the background. Them jokers steal. They go down there now. Coach Jenkins retired from Bluntstown the same year I came up here to Coffee. And him and Buddy, they'll get them 2 rooms down there in the off season in the winter and just live in Panama City. And then when the spring break prices hit, him and old Fogg and Frog will go over there to the lake, either Lake Seminole or Lake Eufaula, and live in an RV for a little bit. So they living the life now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Living the life.
Buddy about got us killed at the coaching clinic in Athens in like 2002. We rolled into the grill about 2:00 in the morning when emo kids were real big. And, we're sitting there eating whatever. And Kevin W. Stevenson had worked for Buddy at East Lawrence. So we get it. We'd already been kicked out of one place, or we've been asked to leave. So, we're kind of looking after Coach Sorrow. We get to the grill and we're sitting there and we're like, all right, all we have to do is get him fed. I mean, what could go wrong? Everything's going to be fine. We just get him fed and then we'll ease on back to the hotel and everything's great. So everything's going okay. He's being Buddy. And all of a sudden this just herd of damn youngins come walking in there and they're emo and they got the goth clothes and they're black hair and black, the eye makeup, everything. And he loses his mind. I mean, he's like, look at these, and he's being loud, and he's just, we're like, oh my God, we're fixing to get killed by Kiss. I mean, that's what they look like. He was like, what are y'all worried about? We're like, dude, calm down, shut up. But I've never been around Buddy and not had a good time.
No, them dudes have a great time. And I tell you, even Billy Law came down. He's buddies with him, and he came down my last year down there. We had a big game at home, and they had an open week, and he come and hung out with them. If I had his name right, the coach at Marion.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, we've had a big time, man. Big time. It's been fun. We're very fortunate people to get to do this for a living and to be around kids and be able to help mold kids and show them what fathers really are like. And, it may not always be pretty, but, it's you take care of your kids no matter what. And that's been fun. This profession's been great.
Well, Coach, you are definitely one of the great ones in it, and I sure have enjoyed, the past hour getting to talk with you and having you on. I appreciate you being on with us, and I can't wait till we hook up so I can hear some more of these stories.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Thanks for being on with us.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. Victory Lane? Yeah, it's even better with Chumba by my side. Race to ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
If you work in university maintenance, Grainger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Grainger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, visit Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.